They married me off to end a feud, expecting me to sacrifice myself for their pride. But what I gained was a partner who saw me, who cherished me, who refused to let me believe I was disposable. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of love worth fighting for. When you're born into a family that believes in ancient grudges and honor debts, you don't always get to choose your future. I learned that the hard way. My family had been locked in a bitter feud with another 4 decades land disputes, business rivalries, whispered betrayals. I was the youngest daughter, the quiet one who never raised her voice, which made me the perfect bargaining chip. One evening, my father called me into his study. His voice was cold, like he was reading off a business deal. You're going to marry into the Bennett family. It will end the feud. Consider it your duty. I wanted to scream, cry, ask him why my life had to be reduced to leverage. But his eyes were stone, and I knew my protests would fall on deaf ears. So I walked down the aisle weeks later, not for love, not for dreams, but for a truce. My bride, Evelyn Bennett, stood tall and unflinching at the altar. She was striking with sharp cheekbones and eyes that seemed to burn with defiance. I braced myself for cruelty. After all, wasn't I just a pawn to her family, too? But the moment the vows ended and the cameras disappeared, Evelyn leaned toward me and whispered, "I know you didn't choose this either, but I promise I'll never treat you like you're disposable." Her words shocked me. No one in my life had ever said something so gentle, so considerate. The first few weeks were awkward. We lived in a sprawling house that felt more like a museum than a home. I kept waiting for the coldness to creep in, for Evelyn to ignore me, mock me, or worse, used me like property. Instead, she asked me about the books I liked to read. She left cups of tea outside my room in the mornings. She never touched me without asking first. It was confusing. I didn't know how to accept kindness when all I had expected was indifference. One night, during a storm, the power went out. I was curled up on the couch, hugging a blanket, when Evelyn sat beside me with a flashlight. "You're scared, aren't you?" she asked softly. I nodded, embarrassed. Without hesitation, she took my hand. "You don't have to pretend with me," she said. Her thumb brushed across my knuckles, steady and warm. My chest ached, not with fear, but with something I hadn't felt in years. Days turned into months, and somewhere between shared breakfasts and late-night talks, the walls around my heart began to crack. Evelyn wasn't just kind. She was fierce in protecting me. When her family made cutting remarks about me being the enemy's daughter, she shut them down instantly. "She's my wife," Evelyn would say firmly. "And if you can't respect her, then you don't respect me." Hearing her defend me lit something inside. For once, I wasn't a pawn. I was someone worth standing up for. The turning point came one evening when she found me crying in the garden. The weight of being unwanted by my family and traded away like cattle finally broke me. Evelyn knelt beside me, cupping my face. "Listen to me," she said, her voice trembling with passion. "You are not disposable. Not to me. Never to me. If they couldn't see your worth, that's their loss. But I see you. Every part of you." Tears blurred my vision, but for the first time, they weren't just from sorrow, they were from hope. That night, I kissed her. It wasn't planned, and it wasn't perfect, but it was real. She kissed me back with a tenderness that made me realize I had found something far more valuable than peace between families. I had found love. Now, when I look back, I almost laugh at the irony. They married me off to end a feud, expecting me to sacrifice myself for their pride. But what I gained was a partner who saw me, who cherished me, who refused to let me believe I was disposable. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of love worth feuding for. The grand old house echoed with laughter and chatter, celebrating the alliance between two prominent families. Inside, my father beamed, clinking glasses with Evelyn's parents. They exchanged stories of past grievances, but now they spoke of bridges being built and a future free of grudges. All the while, I stood awkwardly with my brother, watching them bask in the glow of a united front. So my brother started nudging me. What do you think? Are you happy? I looked away, unable to meet his eyes. How could I tell him that beneath this facade, I felt like a piece of property traded rather than a human being with feelings? He must have sensed my silence. My brother sighed, running a hand through his hair. Look, Lena, I know this isn't ideal, but think of it this way. At least you got out of this house and you married well. You're safe now. I turned to him, my voice shaking. Safe? How am I safe? I'm trapped in a marriage I never wanted. I barely even know her. My brother flinched. I hated seeing that hurt flash across his face, because it mirrored my own pain. Then his expression hardened. You will get used to it. Marriage is like that. Besides, you owe this to the family. Now, don't cause any trouble. Don't embarrass us. Just go along with it. He walked away, leaving me alone with the hollowness of my new reality. My new reality. What did he mean by that? Wasn't I a part of this family too? Or had I already become an embarrassment to be swept under the rug? Later that night, I slipped out of bed and went to the window. The moon hung heavy in the velvet sky, a silent witness to my silent tears. Below, the gardens were alive with moonlight, offering solace with their silent beauty. Suddenly, a figure appeared. Evelyn. She stood bathed in moonlight, her silhouette etched against the luminous backdrop. I hesitated, torn between the desire to speak and the fear of exposing my emotions. Finally, I called out, Evelyn! She turned, her face etched with concern as she hurried to my side. Her presence was like a balm to my raw emotions. Are you all right? I heard raised voices, she asked, her gaze searching mine. I took a deep breath, trying to quell the turmoil within. I miss my family, I whispered, the words tumbling out. Before I could stop them, Evelyn's hand found mine, her touch surprisingly comforting. I understand, she replied softly. It's all right to miss them. A wave of emotion threatened to overwhelm me, and I pulled away, afraid to burden her with my tears. Evelyn tilted my chin up, her gaze unwavering. Don't hide from me, she murmured, her voice laced with concern. Let me help you. And in that moment, I realized I had found an ally in this war of emotions. Days turned into weeks, and I found solace in stolen moments with Evelyn. We'd share quiet smiles over morning tea, lost in our own world. The thought of confessing my feelings to her filled me with both excitement and terror. But I knew I couldn't keep living like this, hiding behind a facade of politeness. One day, while we were rearranging books in her library, I finally worked up the courage. Evelyn, I began, my voice shaky. She turned, her eyes questioning. There's something I need to tell you. Something important. I took a deep breath. I like you. No, I love you. The words hung between us, heavy with unspoken emotions. Evelyn's face softened, her eyes shining with understanding. She reached out, her fingers brushing against mine. Lena, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion, I love you too. In that moment, amidst the towering bookshelves, our love story took root. It was a love born out of understanding, nurtured by shared moments, and solidified by the strength of her character. As I held her close, I knew I had found something rare and precious. A love worth cherishing, a love that could weather any storm,